Have you ever wondered what's really going on inside your cat's mind when they stare at you from across the room? Are they thinking about their next meal? Or is there something much more complex happening behind those mysterious eyes? Science and feline behavior research suggests that your cat's memory isn't just good, it's extraordinarily sophisticated. You might think they live purely in the moment, forgetting things as quickly as they happen. But from your cat's perspective, things might look completely different. Let's pull back the curtain on the feline mind and explore what your cat actually remembers about you and why the answer is more profound than you might think. If you love this kind of insight into your pet's secret world, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Point 1. Your cat remembers your voice from years ago. Let's begin with something simple but deeply revealing: your cat's auditory memory. Cats don't just hear sounds like we do. Their memory for voices is tuned for survival and social bonding, creating lasting impressions that can span decades. Humans might forget conversations from last week, but cats can recognize voices they haven't heard in years. Your cat doesn't just know you're calling them. They remember the exact tone you used when you first brought them home, the way your voice sounded when you were sad, happy, or excited. A gentle "here, kitty" from you carries the weight of every positive interaction you've ever had. More importantly, their voice recognition is incredibly specific. A cat who lived with their previous owner for just 6 months might still respond to that person's voice years later. You could have a completely different accent, speak louder or softer than before, but your cat won't mistake you for someone else. What they do remember, however, is emotion. Even the slightest change in your vocal tone when you're stressed, and they catch it immediately. And that brings us to emotional memory. Unlike humans, cats don't separate the sound of your voice from how it made them feel. They know your voice by the comfort it brings, the safety it represents, the routine it signals. That's why your cat can be sleeping soundly upstairs and still come running when you call from the kitchen. So, in purely auditory terms, you're not just a voice to them. You're a collection of emotional memories tied to sound, and that recognition runs deeper than simple hearing. Point 2. Cats never forget traumatic experiences. Now, here's where things get really fascinating. Because if a cat can remember voices for years, how long do they hold on to bad memories? The answer lies in survival instinct. Cats are masters of threat assessment. They don't just memorize dangerous situations. They create detailed mental files of everything associated with trauma. Locations, sounds, smells, even the time of day. To a cat, forgetting danger could mean death. The person who hurt them, the vet visit that went wrong, the loud noise that terrified them. That's not just stored as a bad memory. It becomes part of their permanent safety protocol. And here's the twist. Cats don't even separate traumatic events from seemingly unrelated details. You're not just remembering the scary thing that happened. You're remembering everything about that moment. They don't see a vet clinic as just a medical facility. They see the specific smell of disinfectant, the sound of other animals in distress, the texture of the metal examination table. They define trauma by every sensory detail, every environmental cue that was present during the frightening experience. That's how they build protection. That's why a cat who had one bad grooming experience might panic at the sound of clippers years later, even in a completely different location with different people. Point 3. They memorize your daily routine down to the minute. Let's go a level deeper. When your cat appears in the kitchen exactly at feeding time, waits by the door when you usually come home, or starts getting restless right before bedtime, those aren't just coincidences. They're demonstrations of extraordinary temporal memory. Cats don't form packs like dogs. They form territory-based relationships with time. And when a cat bonds with your schedule, they're not just learning habits. They're creating a shared rhythm of life. This is why sudden changes in your routine can stress them out. You're not just late feeding them. You're disrupting their internal clock, their sense of security, their emotional compass. Your cat is treating your schedule like a sacred contract. You're not just tolerated within their daily framework. You're essential to it, the central axis around which their entire day revolves. Sound familiar? Your cat is building their sense of safety around your predictability. When you leave at 8 a.m. and return at 6 p.m. every weekday, that's not just routine. It's the foundation of their emotional stability. So, do cats understand time the way we do? Probably not in terms of hours and minutes. But they don't care because the precision of their internal timing, their ability to predict your behavior, Their emotional regulation through routine mean everything in feline psychology. What matters to them is consistency. Are you predictable? Do you maintain the patterns they've learned to trust? Then congratulations, you've become part of their temporal landscape. Point 4. You're not just remembered, you're their emotional anchor. Now, here's the part that flips everything upside down. According to feline memory research, your cat doesn't just remember you exist. They remember how you make them feel, and that emotional memory becomes the foundation for everything else. Let's look at the evidence. Cats who form strong bonds with humans show stress responses when separated that mirror attachment behaviors in children. Adult cats who purr when they see you aren't just being affectionate. They're recreating a feeling of safety and contentment that your presence has provided consistently over time. When your cat seeks you out when they're scared, follows you from room to room, or settles down only after you're home, they're not just being clingy. They're accessing emotional memories where your presence meant security, comfort, and love. You are not just a person in their memory. You're a feeling, a state of being, a psychological safe harbor. And they never really forget that association. Even behavioral patterns, coming when called, sleeping on your bed, bringing you gifts, are all tied to emotional memories of positive interactions. So, when your adult cat does these things, they're not just acting on instinct. They're reliving the emotional satisfaction of past bonding experiences. And this isn't something cats fake or do manipulatively. It's neurologically wired. It's tied to brain chemistry, memory consolidation, and attachment formation. This also explains their separation anxiety. They don't just miss you when you're gone. They're experiencing the absence of their primary emotional regulation source. Point 5. The cat-human memory bond is permanent, not temporary. Some people still believe cats forget their humans easily, that they're so independent they can transfer their affections to anyone who feeds them. But science and long-term observation says otherwise. Cats remember their favorite humans for life. They feel genuine grief when separated. They recognize former owners even after years of separation, and their emotional responses to reunion prove the depth of their memory. If your cat lights up when they see you after a long absence, it's not random recognition. If they remember exactly where you like to sit, which room was your favorite, or how you prefer to be greeted, it's not just coincidence. These are evidence of profound, lasting emotional memory. Your bond with your cat is not temporary. It's permanent. It's the result of accumulated positive experiences, shared emotional states, consistent care, trust building over time, and deep psychological attachment. So, next time your cat greets you at the door, curls up in your lap without hesitation, or seems to understand your moods intuitively, remember this. They don't just know you exist. They don't just tolerate your presence. They carry you with them in their memory as one of the most important emotional experiences of their life. Point 6. Cats remember other pets and family members. Let's explore another surprising angle: social memory beyond their primary human. Many cat owners report their pets remembering other cats, dogs, or family members long after they've been separated. Cats form complex social maps in their memory, tracking relationships, hierarchies, and emotional connections with multiple individuals. When you add a new pet to the household, your cat isn't starting from scratch socially. They're incorporating this new presence into an existing framework of remembered relationships. This means your cat's social memory isn't just about you. It's about understanding and maintaining their position within a remembered family structure. That recognition when they meet a childhood friend of yours, the way they remember and respond to your children even after they've moved out, or their ability to distinguish between family members and strangers, it's all part of sophisticated social memory. They may not understand human family dynamics, but they understand their version of pack memory. Their quiet comfort when a family member visits isn't coincidence. It's recognition and remembered positive association. Point 7. The role of scent memory in how cats remember you. Memory is everything to a cat, but scent memory might be the most powerful of all. Their world is defined through olfactory information, not just visual or auditory cues, and you have a unique scent signature that becomes permanently stored in their memory. To a cat, you don't just look or sound a certain way. You smell like safety, like home, like belonging. Every piece of clothing you've worn, every place you've slept, every room you spend time in carries trace amounts of your scent. Your presence in their scent-based memory becomes part of the emotional geography they rely on. And when you're away, that absence isn't just visual. It's olfactory. It's a missing piece in their scent-based map of security. Understanding this can change how you see behaviors like sleeping on your clothes or rubbing against items you've touched. You're not just a person. You've been integrated into their scent-based memory system. Your smell holds emotional weight together. Your scent is literally part of how they remember feeling safe. Point 8. How cats remember your touch and physical interactions. Humans rely heavily on verbal communication, but cats remember through physical sensation and touch. And believe it or not, your cat remembers exactly how you pet them, where you like to scratch behind their ears, and the pressure you use when you hold them. When you approach with gentle hands, use consistent petting techniques, and respect their physical boundaries, your cat files those sensations as positive touch memories. But if you've ever been rough, grabbed them suddenly, or ignored their signals to stop, they remember that too, and it affects how they respond to your touch going forward. Your hands, your lap, your way of holding them all create a tactile memory bank that your cat draws from every time you interact. So, when your cat seems to melt into your touch or immediately relaxes when you pet them in their favorite spot, it's not just physical pleasure. It's recognition of remembered comfort, safety, and love. This muscle memory of positive touch shapes how comfortable they feel with physical affection and ultimately how close they're willing to be with you. They don't need words to remember how you make them feel. They need your touch, your consistency, your gentleness. Point 9. The power of routine disruption in cat memory. You might think your cat adapts easily to changes, but they actually have remarkable memory for routine disruption. Cats are sensitive to changes in schedule, environment, and behavior patterns. A missed feeding time, a rearranged room, or an unusual absence can trigger stress responses based on their memory of how things should be. Some studies even suggest cats can anticipate routine changes based on subtle environmental cues they've learned to associate with disruption. They may not grasp the reason for changes, but they remember the emotional impact of previous disruptions and prepare accordingly. When you pack a suitcase, change your morning routine, or have guests over, you're not just altering the present moment. You're activating memories of similar situations and their outcomes. Over time, your predictability becomes another layer of their emotional security with you. Routine becomes memory. Consistency becomes comfort. Your reliability becomes part of who they remember you to be. Point 10. Attachment and abandonment memory in cats. Recent research shows that cats can develop lasting memories around attachment and abandonment experiences. These emotional memories, often formed early in life, continue to influence how cats relate to their humans throughout their lives. A cat who was abandoned or rehomed multiple times might show heightened clinginess or anxiety when their current human shows signs of leaving. An insecure cat might remember every goodbye and develop strategies to prevent future departures. This means your cat isn't just living in the moment. They're building emotional predictions based on past experiences. The way you handle departures and returns, whether consistent or unpredictable, gets stored in their attachment memory. In their emotional memory, you're not just a caregiver. You're either a source of security or a potential source of abandonment. And the type of memories you create will influence how your cat responds to you, not just today, but for the rest of their life. You're not just part of their present experience, you're part of their emotional history. Point 11. Myth busting. Cats don't have short memories. There's a long-standing myth that cats have short attention spans and forget things quickly. That they live purely in the moment and don't form lasting emotional memories about their humans. But memory research and your cat's behavior tells a very different story. Studies on feline memory reveal that cats can remember specific events, people, and experiences for years, sometimes for their entire lifetime. A cat who remembers the person who rescued them, recognizes a veterinarian from a traumatic experience years later, or still responds to their name from childhood isn't just showing good short-term memory. They're demonstrating sophisticated long-term memory storage and retrieval. Memory in cats might work differently from human memory, but it's no less real or lasting. It's shown through behavioral responses, emotional reactions, social recognition, and environmental familiarity. So, the next time someone tells you cats forget easily, Remember, they probably just don't understand the complexity of feline memory systems. Point 12. Real stories from cat memory research. Ever had your cat react to a person they hadn't seen in years as if no time had passed? Or show fear of a situation that reminded them of something traumatic from long ago? These aren't just interesting anecdotes. They're evidence of your cat's remarkable memory in action. One research study documented cats recognizing their owners' voices after being separated for over a year. Another showed cats avoiding specific locations where they had negative experiences, even when those locations had been completely changed. One cat owner shared how their cat, after being rehomed twice, still remembered and preferred the sleeping spot from their original home when they were finally reunited. Another reported their cat recognizing and responding to a family member who had been deployed overseas for 2 years. These real-world examples demonstrate just how deeply your cat's memory affects their daily life and relationships. What they remember isn't just facts or events, it's emotions, relationships, and the feeling of belonging. What's the most remarkable memory moment you've witnessed with your cat? Share it in the comments. It might help other cat owners understand their pets better. Point 13. What your cat's sleeping patterns reveal about their memory of you. Where and how your cat sleeps reveals a lot about what they remember about your relationship. If your cat seeks out your bed, your clothes, or spaces where you spend time, that's not just about comfort or temperature. It's about accessing positive memories associated with your presence. In the wild, cats choose sleeping locations based on safety and territory control. So, choosing to sleep near you, on your belongings, or in spaces that smell like you is evidence of profound trust built through positive memories. Does your cat have a favorite spot that's connected to you in some way? Do they sleep more soundly when you're home versus when you're away? That's their memory of safety and security, with you influencing their most vulnerable behaviors. Sleeping behaviors are one of the clearest indicators of emotional memory in cats. And if your cat chooses to rest in your presence or your space, they're not just tolerating you. They're accessing years of positive memories every time they close their eyes. Now let me answer some frequently asked questions. What else do people ask about cat memory? Do cats remember their previous owners? Yes, often for their entire lives. Cats can recognize former caregivers years later through scent, voice, and behavioral patterns. The emotional impact of early bonding experiences creates lasting memories. Do cats remember when you're mean to them? Absolutely. Cats have excellent memory for negative experiences and may alter their behavior toward you based on past interactions. Trust, once broken, can take a long time to rebuild. Why does my cat seem to remember some things, but not others? Cats prioritize emotionally significant memories and survival-relevant information. They're more likely to remember experiences tied to strong emotions, routine disruptions, or important social bonds. Can cats have traumatic memories? Yes, and these memories can influence behavior for years. Cats may develop phobias, avoidance behaviors, or anxiety responses based on traumatic experiences stored in their long-term memory. How long is a cat's memory? While there's no definitive limit, research suggests cats can retain memories for many years, possibly their entire lifetime, especially for emotionally significant experiences and relationships. And that brings us to the most intriguing question of all. If your cat remembers so much about you and your relationship, what do they forget? Do they selectively choose what to hold on to? Do positive memories eventually overwrite negative ones? In the next video, we're going to explore the fascinating world of how cats process and prioritize their memories, and why some experiences stick while others fade away.